Good morning to Australia, good afternoon to Independence, Missouri, and good evening to anyone who's watching us in Europe, and of course everyone who's watching us on YouTube as the delayed release. Thank you so much for joining me today. It is a wonderful day. Hello, Rod. How exciting. We're just talking about you. We're just typing about you. We've had such a successful stream yesterday about the Octane thing. Thank you again, Steve, for posting that link in the Discord there. That's very exciting. If you haven't heard already, or if you haven't caught yesterday's stream, Octane, the company that make Octane, the render engine, have released a new free tier for Blender users, and they've also kind of cobbled together an edition of Blender 2.81 that comes with an Octane Render Engine bundle complete as one installer. And I've tried to install that yesterday, and it works absolutely marvelously. There's of course a huge learning curve because I'm not one to read many manuals. I'm one to complain when manuals are not quite there, but it's always nice to have them if you have the patience to go through it. But I also like to just hammer at it and see if I can work it out myself. And with Octane, that was one such thing. So there we go. That's what we did yesterday. We did manage to get the basics going, and today I wanted to focus a little bit more on the DAZ Studio functionality, because Octane is also available to DAZ Studio users as a little plugin, and the plugin is also available via that link. I'll put that in the description of this video if you haven't caught that already. All you need is an Auto account, which is which is available for free, of course, and then we can get started. We did the installation yesterday, and today I'd like to see if I can make just one or two quick character portraits and see if I can get pictures out of DAZ Studio using the Octane Render Engine. So there we go. Joe was saying, Rod, yes, that is that's a tragedy. We are okay with what's it called, with the FedEx, but we have the same problem here with UPS. So UPS are kind of our nemesis. When anything happens, when anything's being dispatched from Amazon or wherever via UPS, that's usually a sign that 50-60% of the cases you don't get your package, because what happens is that the driver doesn't stop here. He just goes and he's thinking, I'm a little bit late, it's raining, I'm just going to go drive past the house, and the next thing you know, there's no notification on the door, and all I get is a text message that says, yeah, you were obviously not in, so we couldn't deliver the package, so it's entirely your fault, and we're gonna, I don't know, deliver that to some shop and you have to come and collect it. There's no second delivery attempt. The UPS, terrible at that. Yes, rant over, sorry, but it's one of those things. It's important to remember these guys are working for us. So I don't know. The portrait I want to build today has a little something extra which requires this little job here. The world's greatest pose converter, available from Agent Unawares for free from DeviantArt. It's available for Genesis 3 to Genesis 8, as well as the male version. So that's here. I'm going to put those links into the chat maybe right now. If you haven't heard of this thing lets you apply Genesis 3 poses on Genesis 8 characters. And it works more or less fully automatic. Let me post that in the chat now. So this one is the first one. This is G3F to G8F converter. Hello, that's the one, I think. Yes, absolutely, that's the one. It is so good, isn't it, Steve? Absolutely cool. And this one is the male version, so I'm going to post a link to that as well. So that's G3M to G8M converter. It was like that. Yes. And I've used it on another system, but I haven't got it installed on this. So I thought that makes a kind of nice little, what's it called here? Addition to the feed, to the stream, if I were to do this from scratch and install this for DAZ Studio. So DAZ Studio is closed right now. I think that's the prerogative. I've got the two files downloaded. They're both zip files here, G3 to G8 M and F, and all I need to do here is literally go and extract all and put them into my DAZ 3D library, which I gotta find. Forgot where that is now. That's how organized I am. I think it's in, is it in, did I put it in my documents? Maybe. It could be DAZ 3D. No, that's not where that is. Do you know, I have to look. I don't really know where that is. What were you thinking about, Rod? Let me go and open DAZ Studio and just have a look where that folder is. I don't want to put it in the wrong thing here. And you know what my brain is like? It's just... So there are two ways to find out where that is. You can either look in DAZ Studio or you can use the install manager and have a look there. But I'll look over here. So that's at the top here. I need to set up some more scenes so I can zoom in to my screen in all the corners there. I haven't done that yet. But you know, as we do more 3D Shenanigans streams, I'll totally do that. Let's do it. Let's do it. This goes here and we have, no, that's not it. It's in the content library. Make sure the content library is selected, then you go onto this little thing and there is the content directory manager. And that will tell us where the current DAZ Studio formats reside. So I've got several here. I've got users, JVS Lewis, Renderosity, that's not it. Users, public documents, my DAZ 3D library, that's the one. So users, public documents, my DAZ 3D library, that's the one where I'd like for that to be. There's another one here and there. So those are just test directories. I don't really need those. I don't really know why they're here. And Poser, we have the same. And that's one that these are all just additional directories. I don't really need them. I can actually remove them. So let me go and remove that and that one, just so that I don't get overly confused there. So I only have the Renderosity one and the DAZ 3D library. Accept. Close DAZ Studio again, just so that you know there's no funny business. I don't want to save that. That's all good. Has encountered a fatal error. It's a shame, DAZ, isn't it? Let's not worry about that. And instead, browse to that folder. So that's here. That's under users. That's me. And in here there is, was it under, I've already forgotten now. It's not actually me. It's under public documents, my DAZ 3D library. So I just select that and go select this folder. Now everything's going to be extracted into that. Oh, it looks like I have them in there already. Oh, that's exciting. Replace all the files just in case. I didn't know they were in there already. I'm going to do the same with the other one, the mail thingamajig. And we are still here, by the way. So all I need to do is select this folder now and hit extract and also replace. I didn't know they were in here. I thought it was on a different system that I did that. Public documents, exactly. Thank you so much. So Rod, what have you been thinking? Let me quickly read that here. You're thinking about doing a live stream of creating some of the TNA artwork. That is a great idea, my friend. I think that's a marvelous idea. What a cool idea. A round of applause for that. Very good idea. I love it. Do you know, sometimes I think it's the new way of communicating with one another. This is more immediate and faster and more efficient than doing it via forums or via YouTube comments. I mean, they have their place, absolutely. But I think from what I see, many people just stream themselves as if we're all in the same room together. So for me, it works a bit like us meeting at a pub. But of course we can't because the distances are so big and we can't really do that. So I think this works really well for me. It's kind of an in the moment thing. And we're all gathered around a computer and we're going, let's figure this thing out. And, you know, let me see how you work. You let me see how I work. It's kind of, I like it. That's what I really appreciate about it. So yeah, go for it. Sounds exciting. Absolutely. Amen to that. We'll do that. Let's see how we can get DAZ Studio with the Agent Unawares thing working here. There's one, I haven't really read the manual. I did have this working on my other system. It was literally just a matter of applying a pose and, you know, fiddling with the dial. Let's see if it works that way. And if not, maybe we can, you know, we can work it out together. So first of all, I'm going to change my viewport to smooth shaded here, because I want to start with a character, and you know all the nudity bits and bobs. It's kind of, you know, it's bizarre. I'm going to go and use, I'll try and use a Genesis 8 character, because I have a nice outfit that I'd like to use, but I'd like to use a Genesis 3 pose on her. So I think that's what I'd like to do. I forgot what character that was actually. There's so many. Oh, let's just use Victoria. Absolutely, good idea. Just use Victoria. Boom. All right. You have been. How exciting! Thank you so much for watching, Joe. I appreciate that. So I have just like yesterday, I still have the Octane plugin activated. And what happens when you do, Octane Render automatically converts the materials, which is super exciting. During that time, you can't really zoom in and out of the viewport, but once it's done that, you know, things are okay. I'm going to pick a nice outfit for her under wardrobe. I believe this one I wanted to try. It's the autumnal outfit for Genesis 8, so that should fit her just fine. Let's try put the whole outfit on. Yes, me too. Yeah, me too. And then once we get into the Octane thing, I received a really nice tip here. There we go, converting materials again automagically. So cool. I've received such a nice tip today from Biscuits. Biscuits and I had a little email chat going, and she is an Octane user with Poser. So she's bought the Poser version for Octane, or the Poser version of Octane, and she knows a trick or two about it. And I told her that we did this in the stream yesterday for Blender and for DAZ Studio, and that I was so amazed by the huge material library that we have there with Poser. And I said we couldn't get it to work with DAZ Studio, and she says, "Thank you for the link, I'll have a look." 20 minutes later, she came back to me and said, "Ha, I've worked it out, and I will show you how to make that material library available in DAZ Studio as well." So we can get that available in here too. That is good. That is very good, Rod. Ooh, you've got the Chiefs AFC Championship mug. How exciting! But the mug held up, right? The mug didn't break or anything, because I'd hate for that to happen. That's terrible. I think I might just leave that in this viewport here, and let's open up the under panes. Let's open up the Octane Render tab here. I've docked both the NGE, and I think perhaps I can probably just dock that in there as well. I've docked the NGE in here. That's the node editor thing here, so I can look at that later. But so what you have to do in this pane here, in the Octane pane, you head over to Preferences, and then slightly further down here at the bottom, this thing says Live DB Update, and you can tick that box, and then Octane will pull in all those materials. You can also click Update Now, and then it will do it right now. Otherwise, it'll just auto update this thing once a day. So there we go. Good to know they survived. Do you know, I'm not really into football that much, Joe, but thank you so much for the offer. I do appreciate that. I'm into coffee mugs though, but I'm not into, I wouldn't know if that's good or not. I'll tell you a story. I have this jacket that I bought on sale, and it just said Alabama on it, and I thought it meant the state, but it turns out it probably meant the football team, I guess. So I've been getting comments on that, and people are saying, "Oh man, I'm so sorry about that." And I said, "Sorry, what? Okay, what's happened?" And all of the comments had in common that, "Oh yeah, you know, it's because Alabama lost recently." And I thought, I don't know anything about that. But you know, maybe you can teach me. I'd love to find out more about football. I just don't know much about it. So there we go. I'm going to close this down again, or shall I go dock it here? Yeah, let me go dock it. Let me go and deal with the pose first. Let's see if we can get the Agent Unawares pose going. So the pose I want to use is from Iron Man 13. It came with this dress here, stylish dress, and there is this pose which has the hand kind of above here, and I don't think the pose is meant to be used from the front, but I've been playing with it recently, and it's nice to have somebody turn around as if she's kind of trying to avoid somebody's flashlight in her face. So let's try that out. If I double click that, that happens, which is terrible. So let's see if we can just twiddle two sliders and turn those arms into the correct position here. That arm goes way in a wonky position, and that one goes over here. I don't know if it's going to work. Oh, does he? Oh, I didn't know Rajiv uses Octane. Of course he would. How exciting. So I believe it's under parameters, and I also believe it's under pose controls. G3F pose, there we go. So those are the things that we can have a play with. So I think this one, dialing that up, puts the arms into the position that we need. So now the pose looks like it's a Genesis 3 character. That is so cool. Thank you so much, Agent Unawares. For anyone who didn't know this existed, this is how that works. I might make a small tutorial on that and put that on YouTube. So we also have that. I don't think I'm going to frame this up, so I don't think I'm going to correct that arm position here. But what I will do is lift that arm slightly further up. So I'm thinking about a pose something like that. I think the strap also needs to be corrected here. So just to see what the materials look like there. I'll take the arm and I'll just go and try and move that. Move that and just move that up. Is that up? No, that's not up. Is that up? No, that's not up. Is that up? That's also not up. How interesting. Maybe it's a different bone then. Is that it? Yeah, almost. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm after. So she's kind of squinting just about as if somebody shines a flashlight into your face. So with that, we also need a bit of eye squint. I think I can switch that to the texture shaded viewport now. Marcos, how are you doing? Good to see you. Welcome. Welcome to another exciting round of 3D Shenanigans. So let's click her head and see if we have the pose controls here under head. I'm just going to go and search for the eyes. There we go, eyes. Close, relaxed, kind of squint. Squint, widen. Oh, that's interesting. Squint, widen. Yeah, there we go. Something like that. Doesn't have to be. Yeah, maybe like that. Also, perhaps closed a little bit. No, not closed, but kind of squinting. I like that. And side, so she's kind of looking at the camera. Maybe also a little bit of up-down thing going like this. There we go. Got you pegged. Good. So now under the expressions, I want to make it a little bit kind of, I don't know, maybe not the expressions. Maybe I'm going to go and try the mouth, make the mouth a little bit narrower. I think that's what I'm looking for. Mouth frown. That could be, that could work. Just a subtle, I'm not happy with what you're doing right now thing. We're not going to worry about hair right now. We'll leave that for later and just see what it all looks like. Ah, thank you for the link. That was done in Octane, was it? I like it. Does that open in the right thing? No, it doesn't. Does this? Ah, that does. Ah. Oh, so that was not done in Octane. That was done by you, was it? Ah. I still think, Rod, you should put PDF collections together. Every chapter, one issue. I'd love to see that. Be a cool reading experience, and I think it's also something you can sell. I think, just thinking out loud, I think it was, of course, yeah, yours would have been done. Yeah, that makes sense. So the other thing, while I'm here, let me go and create a camera quickly that's based on the viewport. And we can fiddle with that in a moment. The other thing I want to do is create a light that is a kind of a torus. I think maybe the camera's a little bit too close in her face, so I'm going to go and use the tool settings here and use the local coordinates and just move the camera away a little bit like so. And so I'm going to create a new torus primitive like this. I think 60 centimeters is probably too big. Yeah, that's too big, isn't it? But it's fine. I'll just adjust it later. And that is now coming pretty much from where the camera is. Oops. Direction doesn't matter really, but it's like that and like that. I do like the poser shortcuts for moving objects around, I must say. Yeah, something like that. And now I'm going to go and make that smaller, as if it's emulating a ring flash around the camera, And just move that into position. It doesn't have to be mega accurate. It's just so that the camera can focus through that, and then we can get that kind of lighting effect. And then also on that camera, cameras, hello. What does it say? What? That's crazy. Isn't this my camera's tab anymore? Is this change? Oh, there we go. Ooh, I was on presets rather than editor. That's not good. So I'm going to go and increase the focal length here. Whoops. My goodness, this is ever so slightly freaking out here. Maybe we'll go 140. Yeah, I wish DAZ Studio had that morph brush myself. That would be really cool. Yeah, so something like that. We'll worry about the final framing later. Let's just see how the materials come out now. So if I go and put Octane maybe here, render library, I don't actually need that. Script IDE, I don't need that either. I'm going to go and take those away. So the NGE, that's the node editor for Octane here, and then the actual Octane tab up here, that's now in here. That's cool. Open viewport will give us, that'd be something for a second monitor really to be there. That will give us a little preview of the current picture. That looks quite arty, doesn't it? I must say. I like it already. I think I'm not going to change anything. This is perfect. This is great. Look at that. Ever so slightly out of focus, perhaps. Sometimes it's just cool when computers come up with something where you think, whoa, that is nice. That is very cool. Let me see if I can save that out. I love it. Save. Save PNG 16-bit. Yeah, let's do that. Export all render passes. Whoa, exciting stuff. So save PNG 16-bit. Let's do that. Actually, browse save folder. That's a good idea. Octane Render Images. Yeah, I'm not going to ever use that. I'm going to probably not even look at that. Was that a good idea? No, I think I know me. I don't think I'm going to look in that. Or maybe I'll just leave it. Maybe I'll just leave it. Just so that that we know where to look. So we'll put all the renders in there. So I think what's happening here is that the camera doesn't necessarily take all the information from the DAZ Studio camera. I think it can interact with that, but I think we have to do our own thing, I believe. So there's the camera manager here, but there's also this little icon. If you click that, it gives you an f-stop and a focal length here. So that's, oh, that is taken from the DAZ camera, 140 millimeters. But there's this option up here, set imager white point. That's not it. This one here, set camera focus to scene object. So that's, I think, works a little bit like in Blender, where I can click this option, and now I can basically hover over the image, and the label changes here: right shoulder bend, right forearm, or head. So if I click this now, that's a bit like picking out where I'd like my focal point to be. So that's mega convenient. And now we're focusing on her head, which is great. Look at the depth of field going here. That mesh is a bit broken here. This is where we would need the morph brush. So I'll see if I can fix that with a morph that's in there. For an automatic conversion, this is kind of cool. So the environment light is too hot. We're going to dim that down. We're probably going to make it like we did. Probably that's probably what it was, Rod. So I think we'll go and just make the time of day more in the afternoon, and then we'll turn our torus into a light source that then kind of illuminates her from the front. So let's take care of the environment first. There's two ways of doing that. There's this tab here, which is in the render preview port, or it can also be done on the Octane tab over here. It doesn't matter where you do it. It kind of depends on what we're more comfortable with. I suppose if we're looking at the picture, it makes sense to do it in here. It's the local time. So local time 14 is 2 o'clock, and then this is 15-minute increments as we make it darker. So I'm thinking about making it kind of, yeah, something like that. We can also have a look at the sky color here. I think I'm going to make that a bit of a darker blue. And this is now kind of too dark, but it gives us some definition elsewhere. So I'll crank up that light from the front now, the torus, and that I think I have to do that in the other tab now. I'll put that over here just so we can have a kind of a look on it. I've still got one, so yeah. Yes, I started a little bit earlier today because I thought maybe then we have a bit more time together. So I'm very happy that you could all join me. Very cool. So materials, there we go. This is the whole material library that once downloaded, all these things are available, and they look much like what we had in Blender. It's just a slightly different preview. This looks like a light that I could use, but I don't think I'll do that. I'll just go and look at my torus. I'll select the default surface here. That's the default surface that DAZ Studio provides. And I will go into the node graph editor. That gets me into the NGE tab here. And just like we did this yesterday, I'll go and change the glossy material into a diffuse material. which then gives us an emission channel down here. So then I hover over this thing, and it looks terribly complicated, but it is actually fairly straightforward once you get to figure out how these things work. Drag in an emitter, black body emitter, just onto here, and connect the emission out to the emission input, and that now gives us a little bit of illumination. Not a lot yet, but that's probably because I haven't cranked up the lights far enough. So let's see where I do that. That happens by clicking on the black body node itself. So whatever node you click on will change these parameters. So as soon as I click the black body, I get different types of parameters here. And let me change the light temperature, which I won't do. I think I'll leave it on kind of white light and 6000 Kelvin here. But what I will change is the power, so maybe something brighter. And as we do that, we can already see that our image is getting, yeah, there we go, that's nice. That our image is getting brighter. So I can make it overly bright, perhaps not such a good idea. But somewhere around 500, maybe that emulates a nice harsh flashlight. Actually, maybe more than that. We may have to move the whole camera torus thing closer to her, because ideally I'd like to see the reflections of that ring light in her eyes. That's what I'm hoping for. We may lose a bit of depth of field here, but that's okay. We may also want to have a look at the, I don't know if you can see that on the stream, but the bump map or displacement map on her skin, on skin pores, is very harsh. So it looks like she's got bad skin. So I think it doesn't work well on the face. So I might turn that down. When we do a larger render, this is probably going to be more obvious. There's also something going with the strap here of her bag that is kind of digging into her clothing here, and we need to fix that hole here. But other than that, I mean, for a rough and dirty example of getting something out of Octane in which we didn't have to touch the materials at all, I'm very impressed by that. Rim light, Marcos, let's do that. Yes, I think we'll do that. We can even try and see if we can turn the environment light and see if we can use the sunlight as the rim light. That we could try that. If not, we'll just put a rim light from behind. I think that's a good idea. Let's see if we can get that eye reflection going here somehow. And I think we may have to do that. I just shrink that down. Can I do that? Yeah, look at that. This works dynamically. So when I adjust the size of this window here, it also adjusts the size of my camera. Takes a little bit of getting used to. So now watch the aspect ratio change as I make this bigger or smaller. So this actually changes the camera position. So, not sure if that's what I want. I'd much rather lock the aspect ratio in place. But I think it works both ways. I think if I set the aspect ratio here, I think that window then sets automatically somehow. I haven't figured that one out yet. So if I go and pair the torus to the camera, because I think that's a good position to be in here. Maybe the torus can come forward a little bit, and then put the torus onto the camera, and then just move the camera. And in fact, I'll go close that and see if the focal length, if I go and put that back to something like 60 or 80, and then I'll go closer in. Let me leave that on the, what was the default? 60, I believe. Was it 60? There we go, 65. We'll try that. Yeah, the light's a bit too bright now. That makes sense. Torus, oh yeah, that's on the NGE then, isn't it? So this is where you really need 2 monitors at least, if not more. And we also need to change the focal point, of course. So that's just by when this thing is activated, no matter what you pick here in the scene, that'll be picked as the focal point. So I'll use the head, and then when you deactivate it, then that doesn't happen anymore. So then you can just move the image. So when this is active, it will select a focal point. I still can't see the reflections. Maybe I need to make the light smaller and then crank up the intensity. I might do that. Oops. Yeah, it's a bit big, isn't it? So let's make that smaller. I don't want it to come into vision here either, but that's probably doable like that. There. And we may have to crank up the intensity now again. Viewport is always in the way somehow. Crank it up, baby. Oh, we're rendering the wrong camera. This is up here, by the way. So this little thing selects a different camera. So we want the actual camera here. Nice orange sky there. I still don't see the reflection here. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I do see it creeping into vision here, so that's not what I want. Maybe it'll come out as the render progresses here. Don't know. But certainly gives that harsh light. I like that flash photography effect. Let's see if we can fix a bit of the clothing. That'd be nice. So the bag, that's kind of interesting. In the preview, the bag looks okay, but in the render, things get screwed up. I don't really know why that is. Maybe because of a displacement and whatnot. That's possible. I haven't looked into the bag yet. I'm sure there's all kinds of modifiers here. Movement, yeah, swing. That does that. We're not seeing the bottom. I'm just more concerned about the strap. Oh, full bag. Can get full. Empty bag. Also nice. Nothing that looks like I can do something to the strap. So I might just lose the bag altogether. Can we not do that? Delete. There we go. Perfect. That's that deleted. But this I'm sure I can fix. So this is the shirt. This is the sweater. And then this is the shirt. Okay, so we need to work on the sweater. Sweater. Actor. Hem. This is where the morph brush would just be awesome. Chris Cox, how you doing? Good to see you. Welcome to my new live environment. I can't stream. I've mentioned this yesterday. I can't stream to YouTube anymore for some bizarre reason. The packets just don't get through. I'm having major issues with Restream. That's the provider that I was using before, that then distributes everything to Mixer, YouTube, DLive, and to Twitch, and that no longer works for some bizarre reason. Directly streaming to YouTube is also wonky. Slash doesn't work at all. Streaming to Mixer directly is also wonky. The thing that works really well right now is streaming to Twitch directly. So I thought, let's keep doing that. And it seems to work well. And yeah, I'm glad you're all here. So what is a hem? The hem is not what we want to. That's not what we want to deal with, is it? Mesh smoothing. I could try that. Crank up the. Oh, there we go. It's actually, we don't want to collide this with Victoria. We want this to collide with the shirt. There. That fixes that and that fixes that. That was an easy fix. Right. That makes more sense. Do you know, it actually has... if you look in the materials section, my goodness, where was that again? Where was that again? I wish I could remember now. There was, or maybe we need to go here. If we go to something like the torso here, there was, where was the material browser? Oh, LiveDB, there we go. There is something, it's a little bit better in, oh, there we go. There's something under skin, there's a DAZ skin material. So they've created one here. I don't know if that's applied on the torso. It's difficult to see, but we could just use a different skin material altogether and just see what that looks like. So there's several skin materials under the, where is it? Skin option. So this is all skin apparently. Don't know whose skin is dark purple, but there's leather and all kinds of things. And there's one that's actually called DAZ skin material. So very interesting. We'll see how that looks. I don't know what's been applied. I would imagine it just has switched the materials generically. In fact, if I just double click that, well, actually, that's not how I do it. Is it DAZ skin material, reload from Octane server, copy as new material? I don't actually know how I put that on there. Do I just drag it on? Might be. Yeah, there we go. Drag it on. Pick the actual camera. So the torso now has a different skin material than the rest. So I can see it is different indeed. And it does look a little bit better than the material we saw on the face. Let me see if I can make this bigger so we get a closer look at that. So I didn't change the face. I only changed the rest of the torso. And I can see that there's definitely a color difference in that. I think maybe I want to get rid of as much as I like the subtle depth of field thing to analyze the skin. I think I might just crank that down. So make the f-stop a bit. I don't know, maybe make it 32 so we get a bit of yeah, there we go. I'm not sure if I like it. I think I preferred it how the skin looked before. Yeah, this looks a little bit too plasticky for my liking. I'm going to go bring that back to where it was. Ah, that doesn't work, does it? Ha! That's uncool. What happened here? Now the sweater's gone. That's not what I meant. DAZ Studio. Undo, delete. Sweater comes back. Come on. Yeah, there we go. It's just the bag that I wanted to get rid of. Autumnal bag. What happened to the sweater material now? Man, this is crazy. I wonder if I can, the material's gone now, isn't it? So have these fixes here. What's happened? Good thing I didn't save it. It wasn't a great picture anyway, so we can always start again or try something else. Man, I dislike it when that happens. Let's start again from scratch, shall we? There. Try a different idea. That is interesting, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know what the numbers mean, Steve, but yeah, thanks for posting that. It was it's kind of interesting to see those, I must say. We can always go and just pick a completely different model. Do we want to stick with Genesis 8 or do we want to try Genesis 3 model? Maybe that's an idea. If I just actually just look for 3. No, 7 actually. That's what I need to look for. There we go. Karen, Eva, Bethany, Arabella. Any preferences, my friends? Yeah, Rod, absolutely. Just run the benchmark test. I think that is that's free to download. Yeah, let's stick with Genesis 3. I like it. I like it. Rune, maybe. Anything I've got installed goes. Whatever you like. You pick. Gen 3. Let's stick with Gen 3. Do you know? Yeah, I don't actually see the major improvements about Genesis 8. Quite seriously, other than the A pose, and that's just for cloth fitting. So I don't really. I'm not. You know, Rune. Got it. Let's do Rune. Rune, I think I have her as a HD figure as well. Look at that. Rune HD. She's not installed. Let's not do HD. Let's go for regular Rune. Rune regular. Okay, so the camera is still in place. That's nice. Oh yeah, we're gonna have the automatic material conversion now. That's nice. Yeah, different material altogether. See what that looks like. You like Rune, I like it. I've looked through some of the figures that I have, and half of them I don't remember buying. Seriously, I don't know how they ended up in my library. I mean, you know, I'm grateful. I'm just thinking, really? When did that happen? I know what. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's she reminds you of G4, doesn't she? She's got a similar build to it. Let's see what we can give her to wear. Oh, that needs to come off there. Maybe this outfit here, stylish ensemble. I always like that. See if it fits her. This one here. It's like a winter outfit with the scarf. Oh, mustn't touch it. Material conversion in progress and all. Me too, Steve. It's such a blatant let's make some cash thing, isn't it? That's what it's all about. It's essentially the same as Genesis 3. It's just an excuse to buy more content, recreate content. That's exactly what it is. Very funny, Rod. Christina, how you doing? So glad you could join us. Let's give Rune a pose. How are you feeling today? We could try the same pose actually. Then we can at least see if we can recreate that. Actually, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we'll go for something else. We'll just go for something else, and maybe that isn't such a great idea. I can just see that the material here doesn't play ball with us. It's they're not separate either. I believe the outfit is just one piece, so it's not the scarf here that is getting mangled isn't separate from the coat, so those are the same thing. So maybe we'll go pick a different pose that's less extreme here. For example, do we have anything that fits? Any special room poses? Everyday moves. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever looked at this. Tons of poses, look at that. Maybe we'll adopt something from this pack here. Could that be? Yeah, that'll do it. That'll work. That'll work. That only needs minor adjustments. I think Eva is a bit slimmer. So if we just take something like that, then all we need to worry about is this hand, if we frame it in, or just this hand really. Let's leave this hand out. I like it. I like it. Let's do that. Skillfully move the hand away from the body. Perfect. Look at that. And the rest we could twiddle with the arm a little bit. We'll just move that away from the body like that. Maybe a little bit more so we don't have anything intersecting there. If that will do, that will do. This is what we could do with that morph brush. Oh, DAZ Studio took care of it. That's nice. Okay, let's try that. Let's try that. This time, I'm going to go and save my scene before I screw it up. I'll go and create a new folder on my desktop. Call it Octane Test and Octane 1, perhaps. Let's do that. Octane 1. Save currently unused materials with the scene. Trick question. What shall we do? Marcos, that is so nice that you're sending Christina lots of encouragements. That's really, really nice of you. And it is so nice to see you. I'm going to go save all the materials with the scene, even the empty ones. I can see that in the cameras tab here, there's actually a lot of Octane settings I can set from here. So that's nice. I didn't see that before. That's very cool. Hey, look at that. You've nearly reached the magic 50. That's very good, Christina. So this is still with the same toned down environment light. Let's see what we think of the automatic material conversion. I suppose the jacket could be leather. Yeah, so as the render's getting clearer and clearer, I can see it's got like a sheen leather to it. I much prefer what Octane has done to her skin than to Eva's skin. So Eva had had huge amounts of displacement going there, but Rune doesn't. So Rune looks much better in that respect. I like it. I like the environment light that's toned down. I think the foreground here, that is still done by our own little light, by the let's go and click on that. Then we go just make sure that, yeah, that's what that was. That's cool. Don't want to make it too bright, but maybe like, yeah, maybe 2000 is good. 2500 might be too much. Yeah, that's a little too much. So 2200 maybe. Let's do that. We'll make her look at the camera, so turn the head just a bit and the eyes just a bit at the camera, and then we'll set up that light from behind. Marcos, I think that was a good idea. Let's do it. And we can use a plane for that. New primitive, make it a plane. 1 meter might be okay. I'll use the world coordinates again. Oops. I think I'll make her unselectable and the camera as well. Just make sure only the plane is selectable, and move that here. Go turn it like so. Maybe actually slightly lower. Steve, you're the expert on the rim light. Let me know if this is gonna work out okay. Oops. Yeah, maybe I'm thinking something like that. That might work. So with that, let's just label this as rim light, and the rim light default thing I'm gonna select here. Then I'll go into the NGE, I believe. I haven't actually taken that. That's uncool here. Rim light, select the rim light's material, and go into, how did I do that again? See, I've already forgotten now. The node graph editor, there we go. That, right, cool. That's that. Move that over here. Then we add a black body emitter next to this. Emission out goes into, is not there because the glossy material needs to be changed to a diffuse material, which has an emission shader. Emission shader goes into there. Black body goes into the diffuse. And that, I believe, is that. Whoops. Just want to move that down a bit so I can get a sense if the separation is working out. It is. I think I'll move the light over to here. And then I'll go and turn it that way. That's the plan. Anyway, yes, look at that. Now we've got the separation here. That's nice. I think we can it come down? Scale it up a bit, you think? Lower, yeah, I thought lower. Good idea. Good idea, Steve. I don't want it to come into the camera, but we can put it up to about here. That's fine. I think I can also crank it up a bit. The intensity can go just a bit more, can't it? Let me scale it up first. Oh, that comes into view now. So I'll have to do something like that. Or just change the camera framing. That's also fine. I think I'm going to crank it up a bit too, in regards to. Oh no, don't have to do that actually. Yeah, better separation. I like it. Well, see, these things are linked. It's kind of slightly weird getting used to that. I'll put the texture shaded view here. That's not bad, right? I like the separation. I'm going to go and, oh, I've made her unselectable. So I'm going to go and make her reselectable, at least her head. Turn it over here a bit, and the rest I'll do it with the parameters here. Up a bit, side a bit. And then I like the squinting. I like that. Still weird that I can't see any reflections in her eyes. I think maybe the ring light source needs to be even closer to her. That's possible. I can't make it any brighter. Oh yes, there was also a mouth thing I wanted to make the mouth a little bit narrower, and kind of as if she's not quite, you know, happy. So maybe I will have a look at an expression there, like a minor frown. No, not a frown. Sometimes these descriptions, the expressions aren't actually saying what they're describing, you know what I mean? It's not like this. Yeah, these I don't know. Expressions are hard to come by. I have very few good expressions that I actually like. There's always thousands of dials, but I'm not really ever really happy. It is Rune, yes, exactly. It was Rod picked her. I said we had a previous attempt and it didn't work out so well. I accidentally couldn't bring a material change back with undo, and I hadn't saved it, so we had to kind of start from scratch with the pose, and Rod picked her. So there we go. That is Rune, yes. Let's put some hair on and then see if we can make a full size render out of it. Hair, there we go. Hair, I have some nice, maybe this one here, long hair. Yeah, let's try long hair. That is for Genesis 3. See if that works. Oh, how interesting. Maybe that was, you know, maybe that was the reason that we couldn't make it work. Any funky materials? So Rod, since you're dressing her up, what hair color shall we give her? How about pink? Oh, actually, let's filter it down. Ah, this is interesting now. That's the other thing I want to test in a moment. So this is all currently Iray. So I would imagine Octane is good at converting Iray materials. How does it work for converting 3D light materials? I'd like to see that. So we'll try the Toon Mouse in a moment. That'd be kind of interesting. Red. Okay, so like a red like this here, like color 8, that kind of red, or more like an aubergine type thing, or like a pink. Like, let's try color 8. I'm not sure about the hair as such. Now that's interesting. So we get maybe the eyes aren't actually reflecting this properly, because I can see the reflection of the ring light in the hair. That's not at all what I want. See that here? This is the reflection, but the eyes don't actually reflect that. So we may have to look at a different eye material. Oh, you know, we don't even hear it anymore, Christina. Might have to move the rim light slightly further over here so we get a more separation up here. Color 14. Okay, let's have a look. Color 4. This one here. Okay. And also, I'll have a look at hair morph so that we can make it, you know, blow over a little bit. Or a different hair prop altogether. Shaping, yeah, something like a wafty thing, maybe that. Yes, disheveled. I like it. Windswept, as they say. Yeah, I really don't like this reflection here at all in the hair. That shouldn't really happen. And maybe it's just a bit too glossy. Christina, I'm just reading this about your response from DAZ. That's really good news. That is very good news. I mean, at least they're taking it maybe to heart. I mean, you know, it sounds like it. The VIP is here. How exciting. Brian, thank you for joining us. Yeah, so on second thought, I don't like this hair prop at all. Let's find different hair. Let's get rid of long hair. Sorry, long hair. Boom. Brian, we're trying out what the automatic material conversions look like with Octane. That's kind of nice. Voss, how about Voss hair? Voss hair always makes you happy. Or we can use one of Biscuit's hairs. That's cool. Let's use Voss hair. Voss is simple. Genesis 3, let's do that. Converting materials automatically, I like it. And speaking of that, let's... Okay, Rod, you're into red, so perhaps we're going to use this 20, right? Is that cool? Or something more like that, red and black. Oops, sorry, that was entirely my fault. Let's use that. Number 20, there we go, red. Rod likes red. Of course, it rhymes with Rod. And so now, shaping, there we go, that's what I was looking for. And maybe that can just waft into the back somehow. Magically. Like this, perhaps. Yeah, maybe like that. That's cool. That's cool. That might be nice. That might be nice. So oops. Yeah. Let's see what how that ring light responds to this now. Yeah, at least we don't have the sheen in the hair. I like that. So there's no reflection of the hair in there. Do you think the alarm and Brian, that's what the alarm is about? So I'm gonna move the torus light back a bit. I hope that's still gonna work. So it's not in the frame there. This we said we're gonna move over here a little bit. So that the separation is more here rather than there. And we may also have to move it up a bit. Oh yeah, and then tone down the intensity of the ring light. So that, oh man, that up a bit like so, out of vision, and that torus in Octane, in the torus, there we go, no graph editor, black body thing, brightness, maybe make it 1800. And then change it to this camera. Now I don't like the effect of the rim light anymore. It's almost like it's gone. So perhaps it was better in the previous position there. Maybe I'll just crank it up. Maybe I'll crank that up. So rim light. Rim light. Node graph editor. Thingy here. Oh yeah, look at that. It's actually not, it doesn't have a lot of power at all. There we go. I totally forgot to set that. Let me set that to 1000. Yeah, I can see the effects here. Yeah, and it may be beneficial for us to put maybe even a second one in. Have one from here and one from there. What do you think? Like having two? One's already doing a nice job here, but I think perhaps if we have one from here and one from here, that might be even better. Let's try that. Let's do it. Great minds think alike. Yeah, so leave this here. I'll leave the height as it is and just go and have that do that. So we can bring that down maybe further. And then go and say edit, duplicate rim light 2. So we're going to call this one rim light left. And then this one can be rim light right. So and this one we'll go and put over here and turn that like that. I wonder if it's not actually duplicated the material. Like the Octane material, you know. And now I can tone it down as well, so it doesn't have to be that strong anymore. But I think this one here, the second one, doesn't actually have the. I don't see an effect here, so I wonder if that's actually doing anything. So let me go and turn this down first. Yeah, I don't think it's done anything. Rim light left hasn't done anything. Huge learning curve, this. Yeah, I think it doesn't even have the. So this is the right one. I've toned down the intensity here a bit, but the left one, if I go into the node graph editor, look, it doesn't even have the black body assigned to it. So that's interesting. When you duplicate an object, it doesn't automatically duplicate the Octane materials. That's interesting. So let's change it to diffuse. Then we go grab ourselves a black body thing, put that on here. On the black body, we'll go and crank that up to 1000 and see what happens. Yeah, now I see it. Now I see it, and it's too strong. 500 is still too strong. I was kind of hoping to light up the hair rather than just the character here. This one here, smaller, you think? It makes the shadows a bit harsher. The other one as well. Oops. And now that we've fiddled so much, I think we can also do with a bit more intensity from the front. What do you think? With the torus and node graph editor. And this is already 1800, really? I have a feeling we're not getting anything from the front anymore. Oh, we do. Okay. Sorry, which one did you mean? The left one or the right one? Which one do you want to make smaller, Steve? The left one, okay. We shall do that. Shall we try and also, while we're on this, shall we try and get her hair away from the eye a little bit? Perhaps I'd like to see the second eye. And I would like to have a look at the material of the eyes. Maybe there's something we can, I don't know, maybe more reflective or whatnot. So I'll make this rim light smaller. Take care of the hair here. That's terrible, Brian. That's ludicrous. How can they block Twitch? That's crazy. You gotta watch it via VPN then. Or go home. That's the other option. Okay, let's try this. I'm still not entirely, I don't like the fact that this changes my camera's framing every time I resize the monitor. It actually changes the aspect ratio of the actual camera. I'm not a fan of that. So this one you said we're making smaller, Steve. Do that. And hair I'll have a look at over here. See if there's a magic parameter here. So that would be her right, won't it? Style and move. Right, but there we go, perfect. That's something like that. And then also this part here, so that's her left. Yeah, there we go, nice. Very funny. So I'm going to go and save this scene now, and then I'll let it. We can see how long it renders. How do we actually render this as the final image? So let's go save this. Save unused materials. Sure, let's save everything. And also, how do we get the background transparent? That's my next question. I have a feeling that's probably done with the render passes here. That we just render. There's so many. But very almost. I'm not sure about that, Steve. Ah, yes, this is something else I've worked out. Post-process, so we can put, or camera manager, here, there it was. We can put a little bit of vignetting around the image. That might be nice. That may be a bit too much, but you know, just a little bit, so we don't have to do it in Photoshop. I like that. I mean, it doesn't matter. We can do it in Photoshop just the same. But I always like a little bit of vignetting. There's also the thing about the depth of field. We can put that back to, what was it, kind of like 4, I believe. And then this, I really like this, that now it's all kind of out of focus here, but when we click this little icon, set camera focus to scene object, you just go and pick wherever you want the focus to be, much like in Blender. So we just put that on the head, and then we get that in focus, and everything else gets this bit of, you know, this out of focus magic going, the hair and the outsides, and depending on how small we or how large we set the aperture. Let's see how in focus that face really is. It takes a little bit longer to render, I've noticed. It takes a lot longer to render, actually. But you know, of course, that's never quite enough. There's more options that we can set. Was it this? No, that wasn't it. That was render passes material, current kernel. There was a way. Oh no, it was here somewhere. Man, where was that now? And basically, there's a way to say, how do we want to render it? So there's a way, I've forgotten what it was now. Was it current kernel? In the render part, no, that wasn't it either. I wonder where I've seen that then. That wasn't it either. Was that? Switch render size to viewport. Ah, okay. Oh, I like it. Look at that. So now it doesn't do what I was just complaining about anymore. That's nice. That's good to know. Was it that? No, that wasn't it either. This maybe? Yeah, autofocus. Materials. Oh, it was maybe on the Octane tab. There we go. I think it was here. That's where that was. Camera. Bring it back to the camera, dude. We don't want to see the thingy view. This here, that had under render settings. That's where that was. That's where that was. So here we set, I believe, the actual render size, but there it is. Under kernel type, we can use direct lighting, which appears to be a bit faster, or we can use path tracing, which appears to be a bit slower, but I don't know if it'll be more accurate. I remember that on the benchmark test, Steve, that you posted, there was something that used different render types per image, and I think this is how we can set that. So we can render this with direct lighting, or we can render this with why don't you show me the camera here? We can render this with there we go. We can render this with path tracing. So maybe different results there. Kind of interesting, wasn't it? And in my tests earlier, so if we just look how long 500 bounces I guess take, which is 15 seconds. If I switch this now to path tracing, then first of all things are being changed to 1,000 minimum, and it'll take a little bit longer for this whole thing to render. Curiouser and curiouser, isn't it? I have a feeling that path tracing is probably the better option, maybe. Yeah, so this takes longer. I wonder if that is if that brings us the better results. The manual? What's the fun in that? Oh, so yeah, one other thing I'd like to test then. So if this is now currently set to 720 by 480, what happens if I go set that larger? Oh yes, actually it does do that. Okay, cool. Let's see if we can make that something like a 4:3 thing like that, and then just make it larger like that. 2000 by 1500. And then of course the other big question is, do we now say final and then we say start final rendering? Let's try this with the faster option first, with direct lighting, and just say final, and then you go say yes. I believe that now renders this thing for real, but as I said, it's all, who knows really. But let's see how long it takes. So it reckons about 2 minutes. I also don't think I've set up a denoiser. I know there was one enabled here in post-processing. Was it Camera Manager? Somewhere. I definitely saw it, that we could have switched it on. I don't think I did it. PMC, okay. Okay. Yeah, I might do that after the stream, and I might actually render at this resolution one in each, and then we can all have a look together. I'll post it on my website, and we can have a look how they differ, and I'll make a note of how long they take to render. Ooh. Thank you so much for subscribing. Sadly, I can't read your name, but thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thanks for joining us. That's a shame about non-Latin characters, I guess. I believe it was Indian or something like that. Let me know. But I'm happy. I mean, I'm happy for the fact that we don't have to delve into materials quite that deep, and that most of the tough work is being done for us. I do like that. I do appreciate that about Octane. And Christina, actually, there was something that Biscuits told me earlier. Come on, let's go save that. Save PNG 16-bit. Okay. Was that it? Have you saved it now? Oh, autosave. Oh, that's autosave. Well, save. Go on, save into. I don't know. Maybe a rune test. That sounds like a good file name. Okay. So something that Biscuits told me. End final rendering. I thought you were done. No. Yeah, end it. That's. She was kind enough to tell me that the materials that we downloaded yesterday from Blender, they can also be downloaded in DAZ Studio. What we need to do is head over to the preferences in the Octane tab. So that's the one you open with Window, Tabs, Octane Render. And then under preferences, under here, there's Live DB Update. You can tick that, or you can click Update Now, and that will download the whole material library. And that'll take some time, just like it did in Blender. But then under materials, under Live DB, we have the whole collection of exciting materials that we can now go and filter. So clicking on groups gives us the same kind of grouping that we saw yesterday in Blender. So that's exciting. That's good to know. Indeed, yes, the Matlib update, absolutely, yes. So under preferences in the Octane tab, under preferences, you tick this auto update that checks once a day. But if it hasn't run ever, then the material library is empty. So you just click the update now button, and then it goes, contacts the server, checks your license, and under here under path settings, this is where all the stuff is being saved. So very good stuff. I love that. Blender has that, yes. I thought about that. Yes, I thought you may have fallen asleep. Yes, we worked out how to do it in Blender, and then the next question was, how do we get the same materials into DAZ Studio? And it was this is how to do it. We didn't work out how to do that yesterday. Okay, but with this scene done, let me go and just save that one more time. I'm hoping. That's another good test that we can do. So I'm going to go and close DAZ Studio down now. By the way, I didn't have to manually start the Octane Server Prime. That DAZ Studio plugin takes care of that automagically, so we don't have to do that. So now it's, next day I'm stumbling into the office thinking, hey, wonder what happened to my rune scene. Let me go and open DAZ Studio. Hopefully everything comes back like I just left it. And I can then go and render that later. That's kind of the idea. Currently activating. That sounds good. Boom. Okay. So now if I go and there we go. That was the live database update there. If I go and open my Octane scene here, save current changes. No, it's good. Is everything going to come back? The suspense is killing us. This looks familiar. Oh, loading materials, okay. Sorry, Octane. My trigger happy finger there. And then if I go to open viewport, that's okay, that's not quite the camera, that's just the perspective view. So camera selection aside, yes, it's all come back. That's nice. Very nice. Let's see how it deals, just to finish this off, let's see how Octane deals then with 3D Light materials. That would be cool, because there's so many cool 3D Light content out there. I'll do the same as before. Maybe I'll just go and create a new scene now. I've noticed that when the plugin is activated in DAZ Studio, anything you load in appears to convert to Octane. There's an automatic process that's going on there. So I suppose if ever we wanted to uninstall the plugin, I suppose we'd have to go under Help, About Install Plugins, and then literally just deactivate this manually, and then just leave it deactivated. And then if ever you want to work in Iray and you don't want Octane to constantly convert materials, but you don't want to uninstall it, you just deactivate it that way. So that's also possible, I guess. My God, isn't it just? It's happening so fast, absolutely. So I'm going to try using my Toon mouse here. That's definitely a 3D Light model. Converting materials also, good stuff. I'll just leave this on the perspective view and look at the viewport. Environment light is a bit strong and we don't have any particular lights set. I can't see a reflection on his eyes though, that's interesting. So it has converted glossy materials into glossies. It's taken the textures across. Let's tone down the environment light just a little bit. Like power here, we just make that a little bit less intense. So it is working. I mean, including the things like the eye target. I mean, those are just 3D objects, I guess, that are that were set up. Oh, teeth, good stuff. Different camera clipping in the viewport and in real life. Interesting. Ah, okay. So that seems to work. Interesting. So one thing I'd like to find out is in Iray, if I don't want to see the background here, I don't really do anything. The background just disappears. I wonder how I do this in Octane. How do I tell Octane to essentially render this as a cutout with transparency? Do you have any ideas where to even begin looking? Because that's one thing I'm just asking myself, but I don't really have an answer to that. Could have a look at this huge menu here. Vignetting, hot pixel, irradiance, static noise, adaptive sampling. Oh, denoise was actually switched on. Denoise on completion is on. On the, yeah, like in Iray, right? Deep image, deep render passes, emulate all buffer. There's so many options. Today now open map. Oh, that's the other question I couldn't work out earlier today. How do we use the HDRI in Octane? The obvious thing would be to switch the default daylight environment to a HDR texture environment and then load a texture, but I was unable to do that because as soon as I click on this, you'd imagine it opens a browse file dialog. It doesn't. It gives you a bunch of colors, but no way to pop a file in. So I don't really know how that works either. It's another thing we can find out one day. Perhaps sky texture. Triangle, oh my god, there's just so much. Backplate reflections, refractions. In the render kernel tab. Oh, okay, thank you, Christina. I'll have a look there. Sky color, those are just numbers, those are just in render kernel. My goodness. Okay, that's I believe that's on I saw that here. Current kernel. Alpha shadows on. Alpha channel off and on. Ha ha, there it is. Christina, unbelievable. This is so cool. Well done. Thank you so much. Let's see if it works. If we just go and render him like that, go final, start final rendering, sure. That should go very quickly. And save as PNG 16-bit. Mouse with alpha. Ha ha ha. And just to prove a point, let's just go and have a look. I'm sure it's correct. I just want to satisfy my curiosity and all that. Do you know, I was offering that to Christina as well, but the thing is, the way Twitch works is I can only give you either a moderator badge or a VIP badge. I can't give you both. But I think with the bot, I think there's something we can give people points. I think there's something you can allocate points somehow. We'll see if we can work that out. Where does this save things again now? Where I said yeah, comma, that's all cool. I'll just leave it there. It's users, me, Octane Render Images. Okay. So users, isn't that all me? So users, me, Octane Render Images. Ah, okay. Open that. Transparency. All right, fantastic. Woo. Very cool. Oh yes, please do. Absolutely, Marcos. Dear Marcos, actually, in recognition for all your help, I'm going to make you a VIP as well. How's that? I think that is something I can do for you. Marcos is going to be a VIP right now. Let me see if I can make that happen. VIP Marcos. Oh, it's Control S, Control, and it's with the capital. So Control S Marcos. Right. See if this works. Marcos is now a VIP. Congratulations! Very cool. And look at that. Brian, you're also a Twitch Prime member, which is really exciting. That is so cool. So just in case any of you have Amazon Prime, you can connect your Twitch account with Amazon Prime, and that gives you one free subscription per month. And that is exciting because you can support your favorite streamer that way. It doesn't cost you anything, and it'll disable advertising on the channel that you're supporting. So that's very cool. I believe you go to twitch.amazon.com, and that has instructions of how to do that. And it looks like Brian has done that. Congrats. That's the least I can do for you, Marcos. Welcome to the VIP Club, absolutely. Very nice, very nice. So let me go and render the image out, and then perhaps tomorrow there's something, I don't know if my brain is going to be capable of thinking more 3D tomorrow, but the idea was to create a little animation with the mouse. And now that I know how to render this with an alpha channel, I might do this in Octane, try and render an animation out in Octane. That might be interesting. I have no idea how to do that yet, but the idea is to make that happen into the animation is supposed to be on the space above my head, so that the mouse could come in there and do a little dance and then walk in and out, that sort of thing, or just peek around the corner of the screen. I'm thinking of doing that, and it'll go into that little space here. That's the plan. Sounds good, Christina. Absolutely. Oh, so do you think Eric and Julian have a Twitch Prime account? Because we have a Twitch Prime, well, we have an Amazon Prime account, and it looks like that even though Julia and I are member of the same household, we can both get a Twitch Prime account that way. So that's kind of cool. We can link that up. So there we go. I'm going to go ahead and render this and put all the different outcomes together, and I will see you tomorrow at the same time, around 4, maybe 5 p.m., something like that. If I'm capable of doing more 3D things, we shall do that. Other than that, we're going to play a nice video game, something along those lines. Thank you so much for joining me again, and have a wonderful, wonderful night. I'll see you hopefully tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.